Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Puck It with Joe. Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Joe here with Sports Grid. It's time for Puck It with Joe over here on Sports Grid TV on X. I hope everyone's morning is starting off fantastically. Now, we had a loaded day out there on the ice yesterday. A lot of unders cashing us some money, one that didn't. Kyle Connor getting a natural hat trick in that first period blew that one to the over, but we had some great games that stayed under those alt numbers of 4.5. So hopefully you played around with those, but 2 games on the ice today. It's a slate, so we're going to jump right into it. We'll do the recap at the end for all of you that cannot hang around. So we're first looking at the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Now the Canes rolling in. It's almost a $2 favorite here, you guys, over on FanDuel at minus 192, Buffalo at plus 158. And Buffalo has so much value here at home. Yes, the Carolina Hurricanes on paper are the much stronger team, but you look at both of these teams over the last 10 games, and really, when we're looking at them, their wins and losses are pretty comparable out there on the ice. And you've also got a Carolina Hurricanes team that I'm just not trusting at the moment out there on the road. Showing those inconsistencies out there on the road has been a lot. So when I look at this matchup, that total 5.5, I just don't think it's high enough. I expect the Buffalo Sabres to put up their share of the goals. We know one thing about Carolina. They have those goal scorers out there who can get the puck in the back of the net. You look at that top line with Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho, very strong out there. So 5.5 minus 128 to the over. We will have to lay the juice, but I'm okay with laying the juice over 5.5. We have seen the trends between these two go to that over in the last 15 meetings. 10 have gone over, 4 have gone under, and 1 has pushed right on that number. So at 5.5 minus 128, you could alt this to 6.5. I do expect the Buffalo Sabres to get 3 goals in this one, which means Carolina, the favorite coming in here. Don't love on that puck line. 4 goals out of them, pushing us nicely over, total 6.5. Now, this game, I always look for that plus money. You guys know that. Both teams to score in the first period is where I think you have your best opportunity of making plus money. That's coming in at plus 180. If you just want to look at the over 1.5, if you think Carolina gets up by 2 goals off that loss to the Anaheim Ducks, taking their frustration out here on the Buffalo Sabres, I don't blame you, but this Sabres team has been so strong to kick off these games. This is where they're able to bring it, get those goals in the back of the net, and then they kind of fade off. Both teams to score at plus 180. The home team has won the last 4 meetings between these two, but we actually have seen Carolina come in and dominate that first period. So if you don't want to take both teams to score and you think Carolina's going to get up 1-0, 2-0 in that first period, you can look at the Carolina Hurricanes first period puck line laying a half a goal. It's coming in at plus 140. I don't love it, you guys, not with how Buffalo has been playing in that first period. So I would be very cautious taking the Carolina Hurricanes on the puck line at plus 140. Now, can we have a 2-1 first period? We absolutely could here, with the Carolina Hurricanes coming out nice and strong, getting 2 goals, and the Buffalo Sabres hitting a goal as well. So both of those bets cashing, but at plus 140 only for the puck line there for the Carolina Hurricanes, I'm not in love with that bet. So that is where I'm going with this game, you guys. I do think if you're looking at some goal scorers, because I'm loving the over in this one, there's a couple of ways to go. Now, Tage Thompson here for the Buffalo Sabres, 19 goals on the season, looking for goal number 20. Tage Thompson for goal number 20 tonight comes in at plus 200. He has 19 goals and 34 points on the season. So definitely a strong way to look with Tag here. You could also look at Rasmus Dahlin for your long shot here for the Buffalo Sabres. He's coming in at plus 550 for that anytime goal. When we look over at the other side for the Carolina Hurricanes, I think Brent Burns is an interesting long shot here tonight. I'll take him for the point. Brett Burns is so strong on that blue line. And we also look at him. He's on the top defensive line and then second power play unit. We know Carolina's abilities on that power play. And I do think he has every opportunity to get a point tonight. So Brett Burns for the point coming in at plus 146. You got to love a defenseman that just fires at will at the net from the blue line. And then when we're looking at another long shot, because you guys know I'm always chasing that plus money. Eric Robinson here for the goal here for the Carolina Hurricanes coming in at plus 500. He's getting a ton of time out there on the ice on the blue or on the second line. And you look at him, he's kind of like Neighbors for the St. Louis Blues. Like he gets in front of that net and he gets those rebounds. He will get those gritty goals out there that he really has to dig and work for. So at plus 500, I do like a look here at Eric Robinson. And then Jordan Staal. We know we didn't get him in the banner raising ceremony in the last game for his brother, but he has scored in 3 of the last 4 games for the Canes. So looking at him for the anytime goal to continue with that momentum after that streak being broken in the last games coming in at plus 350. So you could look at the top line, Aho and Jarvis, and play around with their points and parlay them together. But I do think looking at longer shots in this game is a great way to go. And you guys know I love that plus money. The next game and the last game, you guys, with the Edmonton Oilers are taking on the Minnesota Wild. Now, current lines on FanDuel in this one. Edmonton minus 220 here on the money line on the road. Crazy, right? But when we look at these two teams this season, they have split this series so far with both getting a win. Both of those wins coming on the road. So road ice advantage has been the theme so far this season between these two. It's hard not to bite on a Minnesota Wild team at plus 180, but remember the injuries. Defensive injuries, Kaprizov, he's been out skating again, but still not going to make this game here at home. So plus 180 for the Wild. Total of 5.5. And I know how strong the offense is here of Edmonton, as well as the Minnesota Wild, and how easy it looks to take this to the over 5.5 at minus 140, even laying that juice. But I just can't get there. If anything, I would look at Edmonton's team total first before I looked at the full game to the over. We're looking at an Edmonton team that is really locking down defensively, and we've seen what Skinner can do as of late. He's playing elite between the pipes, and that absolutely pains me to say as a Calgary fan and as a non-believer in Skinner. But he keeps proving me wrong. So I've got to go where things are going. And with how this team is locking down, I expect that lockdown against the Minnesota Wild. And we know this is a Wild team that their defense is key with these injuries too. They're looking to get up and they're looking to lock down. Both of these teams look to get up. I don't want to take both teams to score though in the first period. It's a question mark still on goaltending. Skinner is expected here and strongly expected for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, for the Minnesota Wild, Gustafsson or Marc-Andre Fleury. If Marc-Andre Fleury is in net, he has won his last 3 games out there versus the Oilers. And I do think he comes out nice and strong. So I'm looking at this one to stay under that total. Gustafsson as well. Gustafsson has been incredibly hot. We have the Minnesota Wild off a loss to Vegas. It was a 2-1 loss on Sunday on the road. They're back home in this one. And we have the Edmonton Oilers, who have won their last 2 games. It's really interesting when we look at these two teams as well. In their last 10 games, both teams have won 7 of those. Both teams are sitting second in their division. So the Edmonton Oilers second in the Pacific and the Minnesota Wild sitting second in the Central. They're 11-9-1 at home. We have the Oilers 12-6-2 on the road. So strength on strength, right? Both of them have 27 wins on the season. Just 1 point separates these teams in the West. And Edmonton is such a huge favorite. It's kind of scary here to back the Edmonton Oilers with how similar these teams are playing. I think this is probably a 1-goal game, probably a game that goes into overtime. So again, I don't want to play around or flirt with that total at all. I want to look at Edmonton to do what they do best. Edmonton is so strong in that first period. Look for the Edmonton Oilers to come out in the first period and win the first period. Now, is that saying that the Minnesota Wild won't score in the first period? No, I'm not going to play both teams to score, though. I could see that defensive lockdown, but I do think we see the Oilers get up in the first period and cover the puck line in the first period. 1-0 or 2-1 style first period here for the Oilers. So the Oilers on the puck line in the first period laying a half a goal coming in at plus 134. And then I want to stay off of it because you look at the look ahead situation. And yes, they should be able to roll into Minnesota and beat the Wild. They did so on December 12th, getting a 7-1 win. Insane win over the Wild. The Wild won the game prior in Edmonton. They had a nice big win as well. So could Edmonton overlook the Wild rolling in with Colorado on deck tomorrow? Absolutely, they could. They know they've got to take on Nathan MacKinnon and company tomorrow, which will be a hard one on the second night of a back-to-back. So give me Edmonton first period to come in rolling hot. Scary situation, though, with the Wild off that loss on the road on Sunday. And they lost that one 4-1. But this team just isn't putting up enough for me to get behind them. They've also lost their last 10 games when listed as a dog. So we have them rolling in as a home dog. Scary. If you're looking for anytime goal scorers, though, I do have some players to play around with. Leon Draisaitl, we know how strong he has been out there on the ice. He never says die in these games. He's firing at will on net. So if you want to look at his shots on goal or point tonight, I would look at him for the point. I would look at Zach Hyman for the point as well, or the anytime goal for Hyman. That's coming in at 2-1 to your money. And when we're looking at the Wild, Matt Boldy has been playing really strong. He is coming in at plus 200 to light the lamp. But if we're looking at a longer shot, Frederick Gaudreau here coming out has scored a goal in 4 of the Wild's last 5 home games versus the Oilers. So he's shown when he's at home versus the Oilers, he can find the back of the net. His anytime goal coming in at plus 550 today. So he centers that second line with Ryan Hartman and Marcus Johansson. So I like what we're going to see out of him out there on the ice tonight. He's also on that second power play unit. So my long shot will be Frederick Gaudreau at plus 550 for the Minnesota Wild. I then will put a little bit on Matt Boldy here. So if you just want to look at the two of them for a point together, I don't hate it. They do roll on different lines, so hard to put their points together when they're on different lines. If I'm liking Frederick Gaudreau here, I would look at Ryan Hartman. So Ryan Hartman and Gaudreau for their point out there on the ice, parlaying them together. And then Matt Boldy parlaying, actually just look at him for the anytime goal plus 200. So, and then for the Oilers, I would look at Leon Draisaitl. So that is what I'm liking today, you guys. Let's get this freaking money. That is for sure. It is a good day to make some money here on a Wednesday. We got another loaded slate tomorrow, so make sure you come back and join me here for Puck It with Joe. I'm already starting to go over those lines, try to find some angles for you guys to make some money tomorrow. So noon Eastern back here on Sports Grid TV. Let's quickly fly through that recap. It's going to take us like 30, 40, 50 seconds at most. So the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Give me both teams to score in the first period coming in at plus 180. Give me the over 5.5 in this game. I think you could ult it to over 6.5 as well. Give me Tage Thompson for the anytime goal for the Sabres and Rasmus Dahlin for your long shot to light the lamp. Give me Brett Burns for the point tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes at plus 146. Give me Eric Robinson for a goal here for your long shot for the Canes. And Jordan Staal, probably your least long shot in this matchup. The Edmonton Oilers versus the Minnesota Wild. Let's get in and out. Give me the Edmonton Oilers on the puck line in the first period, laying a half a goal coming in at plus 134. Let's look here at Frederick Gaudreau for the point or the goal. I love both of them for him to come out nice and strong. He's showed that he's strong at home versus the Edmonton Oilers. And then I would look at Ryan Hartman if you want to parlay those points together, because they ride on that same second line. Now, when you're looking at the Oilers, Leon Draisaitl and Zach Hyman. And then if you want to look at Matt Boldy here for the Wild to light the lamp as well, I like it. But you guys, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here on the daily. Let's make some freaking money. Let's have a day. I will see you back here tomorrow, noon Eastern, on the grid. Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as